everyone. Welcome. Today I am excited to be joined by Chair Post, come on up, by Mayor Lurie, Board President Mandelman, Supervisor Melgar, Community Leader and Steward Renee Berger, and our Commission Chair, Lauren Post, on this very special occasion. Today we are launching our Love Our Neighborhoods, an all-new program that Public Works initiated to make it easier and cheaper than ever to activate and enliven public spaces with beautification projects. This program covers permitting and registration for projects of all sizes, from sidewalk benches and little libraries to large murals and tiled staircases, like the gorgeous one we're gathered around today in Glen Park. Love Our Neighborhoods marks the start of a new era in permitting for Public Works and the city as a whole. While designing this program, we had three primary goals. Make the process as transparent and approachable and streamlined as possible. We've been beta testing this process for about the last year, refining it to make it as smooth as possible for residents and community groups. And so thank you to all our community partners who have been working with us through that process. With Love Our Neighborhoods, we're going about accomplishing this in a few ways. First, it will have its own dedicated program analyst who acts as the primary point of contact for applicants and really helps to drive the process forward, from application through construction. No more opaque bureaucratic processes, just one knowledgeable and dedicated public servant working to keep the applications and projects moving through the system as efficiently as possible. Behind this analyst will be a designated in-house team of Public Works engineers who will be available to review more complex projects that require more stringent reviews. Second, we're lowering the financial burden on applicants. Love Our Neighborhoods permits come at a much lower cost to permit holders than other city-issued permits for projects in the public right-of-way. They range from free of charge for our little libraries and benches, really a registration process, to just over $1,000 for the most complicated permits that we'll be issuing, and that depends on the project size and scope. We at Public Works envision this program as one of the many ways the department can help drive San Francisco's comeback. Enlivening and beautifying our public spaces fosters community among neighbors. So many wonderful neighbors here today. It is great to see you joining us. And attracts visitors to the neighborhood. I've just been hearing that Crosstown Trail walkers are using this incredible staircase and appreciating it, which encourages economic activity and boosts civic pride. All of these things align with Mayor Daniel Lurie's recently announced PermitSF initiative, an effort to reform San Francisco's permitting process. And I think it's also worth noting that this complements San Francisco First Lady Becca Prouda's neighborhood beautification hopes. And with that, I would like to introduce Mayor Lurie himself to share some more with us about his vision. Mayor Lurie.
Thank you. First, let me start by saying I love this neighborhood. I just walked through downtown Glen Park, walked a little bit on the Crosstown Trail, and I didn't know that we were right at paradise. It's apt. There we go. Last year, I was walking through a night market, and this moment really stuck with me when I met a young mom. She had two young kids with her. And as we talked, she said something that once again, I will never forget. I love this city, but it feels like this city doesn't love me back. Too many San Franciscans felt that way. They care deeply about their community. They want to put down roots, raise their kids, or do a little something extra to make their neighborhood more beautiful. Investing in a place they call home might mean creating a little library or beautify a stairway like the one right behind me. But too often, instead of getting a helping hand, the city shuts down that energy with bureaucracy. That's why today we're launching Love Our Neighborhoods, a new permit program that is simplifying the permitting process for community projects and making it cheaper for residents to beautify public spaces in our neighborhoods. To help streamline the process, we are creating, as Carla said, we are creating a single point of contact for anyone who applies for a Love Our Neighborhood permit. This means there will be one person to guide applicants through the process and help get their ideas off the ground. And when projects require technical reviews, we'll have dedicated engineers ready to step in and make sure things are done safely and quickly. If residents want to help their community look better and feel more alive, the city should help them do that. This is a no-brainer. This work builds on what we've done over the last 6 months. Just last week, the Board of Supervisors advanced our PermitSF legislative package, designed to speed up the permitting process and make it more transparent for small businesses and homeowners. We've also extended first year free to help businesses open and grow, adding entertainment zones across the city to bring life to our neighborhoods, and most importantly, prioritizing public safety by working to fully staff our police and sheriff's department so that residents and visitors feel safe in every neighborhood. I love this city, and every San Franciscan I meet on this street does too. You feel that pride and that care in every corner of our neighborhoods, like here in Glen Park. This program that we are announcing today unlocks that energy and lets it flourish. I want to thank Supervisor Myrna Melgar for leading on this legislation, and to Board President Raphael Mandelman for co-sponsoring. And I want to thank San Francisco Public Works, who saw in their community work that there was a better way to deliver these projects, and then worked with communities to design a program that will truly make our city even more beautiful. So thank you to Director Carla Short and your entire team. So let's go show what it looks like when a city works with its people and lets creativity thrive. I can't wait to see all of the amazing projects that our neighbors come up with. Let's go, San Francisco. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Lurie. And now we have the President of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors and the Supervisor for District 8, this district, Raphael Mandelman.
Thank you, Carla Short. Thank you for all of your work and all the work your team does, not just on Love Our Neighborhoods, but every day to make our city beautiful, even more beautiful, to care for our public spaces, to give us so many, many things. We are grateful to you. Mr. Mayor, you're now over 6 months in. It's crazy, but you're doing an amazing, amazing job. And we appreciate you, and I appreciate being able to work with you. And I really appreciate, to steal a line, I think, from Jimmy Carter and work it a little bit for San Francisco. I really appreciate your commitment to giving this city a government that is as good as its people. And the Love Our Neighborhoods program, which Supervisor Melgar, congratulations. And thank you. Love Our Neighborhoods recognizes the amazing reality that in this city, in neighborhoods across this city, we have Renee Burgers and Sophie Constantino's, and I'm not going to name all of you, but a number of you, who, yes, you work and you do family and you live your lives, but you also see a problem or an opportunity in a public space, or a mural that ought to get painted, or a garden that ought to get created, or a stairway that could be better, or an abandoned side of a hill that needs some love and attention, and you get your neighbors together and you make something beautiful happen. And at its best, the city is a partner, and at its worst, sometimes it has been an obstacle. And what is so good about this legislation, the commitment of the mayor and Supervisor Melgar, and I believe all of my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors, is our deep commitment to trying to help this government at least get out of the way, but more actually help more of these things happen. My best moment this morning was Sophie Constantino, amazing neighborhood leader, telling me that she's got a list of about 20 things she wants to use Love Our Neighborhoods for, which is great. That's amazing. That's exactly what we want to see. Now, I think we're here, and we're going to hear from Renee, because this mural and the stairway, if you haven't walked, most of you have, but if you haven't walked up these stairs and checked out the whole thing, you should. It was a beautiful vision. Renee was committed and tenacious and was not going to give up. But it took a little bit of, superhero energy, I think, for her to just keep pushing this thing along. And Love Our Neighborhoods came along in the middle of the project, and I'm not going to say it was a blessing, really, but it was projects like this are the reason we need Love Our Neighborhoods, and I do want to thank Logan for helping beta test Love Our Neighborhoods and try to figure out how to allow this to happen. But Renee, a million thank yous to you for this, and the mural down the way, and the project at the bridge. And she's not going to stop, and none of you are going to stop, because there's so much beautification to happen. Thank you, Renee, and thanks to all of you who are going to take such great advantage of Love Our Neighborhoods.
Thank you. Thank you, Board President Mandelman. I really want to give a little bit of extra appreciation to our next speaker, because she introduced this legislation. She also really worked with us to try to figure out how can we make this be a process that both follows the rules and keeps people safe, but gets out of the way of this beautiful, creative opportunities that community and neighbors are coming up with and just sticking with to make them a reality. That was an inelegant way of introducing Supervisor Myrna Melgar.
Thank you, Carla. I have to say thank you so much. This legislation is one of the best ways to illustrate what can happen when community, the legislative branch, and the executive branch work together to make things happen. Our bureaucracy in San Francisco didn't happen overnight. It's not like somebody thought, oh, today we're going to make things complicated. It has been, a story of folks add things, and one day we wake up and there's all these regulations that today don't meet our needs, but were implemented over time because they served something at some point. And so it is our job to wade through all that and figure out how to make our best San Francisco and support community in what they want to do. And that's what resulted in this legislation. I want to thank, in particular, Jen Lowe, my chief of staff, who is one of the most dogged people at City Hall, and Beth Rubenstein, who is not here anymore, but she was working for the department and was really just a lot of the brains behind figuring this stuff out. When I first became supervisor, I started working with a woman in my district, Carol Dimmick, who had adopted the pedestrian overpass over Portola. And she wanted to paint it because it was moldy and dirty and overgrown. And she had this concept of painting it in sort of a modern design, and was told that paint on the public right-of-way required a major encroachment permit. And so it was that prompted us to go down this path to say, well, what makes sense? What can we do to make it legally responsive, safe, liability for the city, and at the same time, just common sense to allow neighbors to have joy in their community, to have pride in the community, to make it more beautiful. And this is what we came up with. So between legislative intention and policies and procedures, there's a long way. So I particularly want to thank, besides Director Short, Logan, Teresa, Ian, Ramses, all of these folks at DPW who take the legislative intent and then make the forms, make the process, talk to our community members to get us all the way there. I have since funded a bunch of stuff through participatory budgeting in District 7, which starts across the street in Bosworth. You know, a lot of projects were in between. I am grateful for the patience of many of my constituents. We have Rosaura Valle over here who has led the Detroit Steps process, which has been very similar. It was started before the legislation, and it took too long, it cost too much, and that is what we're trying to do: help neighbors get to the finish line on the wonderful things that they do. So again, thank you everybody for coming, and thank you DPW, Mayor, President Mandelman, and all of the volunteers who lend their hours, sweat, work, and love to make our city a better city and one that is so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Melgar. The next speaker has really demonstrated the tenacity, the determination, and what collaboration looks like. She has worked with us both before the Love Our Neighborhoods permit came to existence and now after, to try to help us understand from the neighborhood's perspective, what are the pain points? What are the challenges? And she's been an incredible partner to us. She has also big vision for continuing these projects. So I want to invite Renee Berger up to say a few words.
Thank you. Supervisor Mandelman said that I was a superhero. There are superheroes who are standing behind me, and I want to acknowledge all of you because you are the people who we look to for support for our projects, and you've been very, very present for us. So thank you. This is a wonderful, wonderful turnout. I'm going to start with a bit of context and expressions of gratitude, and then tell you a little bit about this fabulous project. And then lastly, no surprise, like Sophie, we've got a lot more plans to keep DPW and LON, Logan, very, very busy. So by way of context, every day people in San Francisco walk by community gardens, tiled stairways, trails, all projects dreamed up by its residents and often volunteers. The projects may be small in scale, but are huge, huge in their impact. They lift spirits. They make this city healthier and stronger. Realizing these projects requires broad community support and the collaboration of the city, which this project serves as an example. So by way of thank yous, Mayor Lurie, thank you so much for recognizing these community-driven, resident-driven, and volunteer projects. Thanks for shedding light on us here in Glen Park and this Burnside project. While downtown is the economic heartbeat of San Francisco, its neighborhoods are the metabolism of the city. They are inseparable for a thriving San Francisco. To Supervisor Melgar and Mandelman, thank you for your work developing and passing this legislation. By way of example, those words, major encroachment permit, you can imagine the sheer terror when I read that. The prior permit, and I want you to take this in, started out with an application fee of over $5,000. And an assessment, an annual assessment fee that would have been equal. It's now $500 and no assessment. Thank you. A special heartfelt thank you to Supervisor Mandelman, who was with us literally every minute, every hour, every day of this project. To DPW's Carla Short, I want to mention 2 decades ago, A neighborhood in Supervisor Melgar's district came up with a really crazy idea. They wanted a tiled stairway. This is 16th and Moraga. I suspect many of you have had the sheer joy of walking that stairway. There was no precedent. Congratulations to DPW for taking the risk and standing by this project. There are now more than 10 of these tiled stairways in San Francisco. Somehow, Supervisor Melgar, you have 3 of them. Yes. Wow. They are sheer magnets of joy. Director Short, thank you for placing a priority on making community improvement initiatives more expeditious, less expensive, more sensible, right-sized to the projects, and truly for fostering a spirit of collaboration between the department and applicants. I want to thank the LON staff. I'm surprised that Logan's ear is not curled up like a cabbage from the many conversations. So the Burnside project, look at this mural. Look at the stairway. This has become a place of joy with children that visit to talk to the animals, kids that say choo-choo when they look at the train. You'll see students from St. John's over here sweeping, and you'll see teachers with their students from the Glen Park Elementary School giving history lessons. We even have poems that people have written inspired by this project and the love of this neighborhood. Importantly, it's where passersby don't just pass by. They stop, they admire, they talk to each other. This builds community. The inspiration for the project, many of you may know, some of you may not. Where you're now standing was going to be a freeway. And had it not been for 3 women, all Glen Park residents, who said no, they became known as the Gumtree Girls. They stopped the freeway. This project is a tribute to them. If you look up there, you will see the 3 women and their predecessor, Minnie Baxter. They are still looking over us, protecting us. One of those Gumtree girls, Joan Sywald, lived in this house over here. Her last days were spent in a hospital bed, raised so she could look out that window and see the many admirers gazing at this project. Speaking of Joan, I want to recognize Bob Sywald, 100 years young, who recently decided that he wanted to fix up the landscaping over here. And Ann Winthrop over here. These projects rely on the support of the community, and had they not said absolutely yes to this idea in the beginning, it never, ever would have happened. When the possibility of this setting going viral was raised, I believe, Ann, your words were, bring it on. Between the mural and the tiled stairway, it was a 4-year project. Yep, it got started during the pandemic. It took persistence, collaboration, and creativity to realize. And just look at this. Brilliant artists. Twin Walls Mural Company did the mural, and Aileen Barr and Colette Crutcher, who also did the projects in your district. We are so incredibly lucky in San Francisco to have this talent. The community participated in all aspects of the design, including making tiles. The city was central to this partnership. The learning process with LON, with Love Our Neighborhoods, was mutual, with occasional and understandable moments of frustration, but always guided by a shared objective of beautifying the area. To close, we've just begun. Beauty makes you feel alive. Beauty softens us. There shall be no rest for the weary as we anticipate keeping DPW and Love Our Neighborhoods very, very busy. Inspired by the successful resident-driven beautification that Supervisor Melgar just mentioned of the Kensington-Portola Bridge, We've already begun a process to transform the Bosworth pedestrian bridge from dowdy, dirty, and underused to attractive and a source of neighborhood and city pride. There aren't any stairs, folks. There are pillars, and we plan to put mosaics on those pillars. We is Glen Park residents, Beth O'Leary, where are you, Beth? And Libby Rader. Libby. Just last month, Beth led a team of 20 volunteers working with DPW's Neighborhood Beautification project to remove the undergrowth. Massive amounts of weeds and debris were removed. This project is part of something we're announcing, Glen Park Beautiful, a volunteer and resident-driven effort that will have a beautification lab to nurture ideas like the Bridge Project and promote the creative spirit of Glen Park. Think more art, more music, more joy, more connection. Last but not least, do be sure to look at the new mural that's over at Glen Canyon, also a product of community involvement. We celebrate that mural on July 26th. You're all welcome. It's in the canyon that was saved by the Gumtree Girls. They remain our guardians. So thank you again to Mayor Lurie, to Supervisors Melgar and Mandelman, DPW Director Carla Short, for valuing these projects. And to all, it's okay to take selfies, share on Instagram, TikTok. We want to share the joy. I'll quote Ann again, bring it on.
Thank you, Renee. And thanks to you all for joining us this morning as well. It's really an exciting day for the city, and I am now eager to see what exciting and amazing projects Sophie and Renee and many of the rest of you have waiting for us. I do want to recognize our board chair, Lauren Post, who, when she heard about this, said, "Carla, we need to get this done." And has strongly encouraged us ever since. Also, a big thank you, they're not here today, but our wonderful advice attorneys, John Malamet and Chris Tom, who really worked through some of the legal barriers that were enmeshed in our codes to figure out what did we need to change, how could we do that. And then, of course, to our team who has gotten some thank yous, but Logan Henn, who came back to Public Works and really took this by the horns and started wrangling this process, to Teresa, to Ian, to Ramses, Ben Peterson, Eva is here somewhere. You know, this team is incredibly committed to trying to work with community and learn from community. It's one of the things that makes me most proud to be in this department with them. So with that, I would like to invite you all to visit our new website, where you can learn about the different types of projects, start your applications. The URL is sfpublicworks.org// I never know, love our neighborhoods, and it should be live right now. Thank you so much for coming.